1995. Hello, everybody. I know I promised I would do another fun project-specific thing and not another statement video, but Red, White, and Royal Blue is here. And while I'm not an expert on the world of fan fiction, I can say that I've seen a lot of movies with gay characters from 1995. And I guess I'm gonna be talking about gay men, romance novel women, who gets control of the metatextual narrative, objectification, and exploitation. This is going to be a mess, people. Okay, so I guess the best place to start with all of this is, of course, it's in the name of my channel, 1995, more specifically, Slanted Vision. Yes, Slanted Vision, the video art movie I had to jump through 3 rings of fire just to get my hands on. You see, contained within Slanted Vision are not only confessionals from gay Asian dudes about the naughty movie industry. There is a confessional from a white woman in there, and she is very forthcoming about why being a witness to the secret relationships between dudes excites her bicycle. And this is basically what she says. 1. I like seeing men make themselves vulnerable, a position that societally and historically women have been pushed into. 2. As a woman, I take offense to being told that I am suddenly invading a space or that I am an objectifier, especially when we live in a patriarchy. 3. It's not a revenge thing, I promise. Honestly, I could end the video here, cause what Homegirl says in that confessional cuts to the core of the entire gay romance novel fanfiction real person fic issue. The book club fanfic women are taking up space, and are kind of weaponizing their womanhood to stay there. It's like a loophole, because they're not wrong about patriarchy, so it's technically not a double standard, nor is it a revenge thing, but it's an objectifying behavior. It reduces the reality of real-life romances into the fantasies of a straight outsider's imagination. And I'm just wondering, okay, not just me, my Irish witch friend pointed me in this direction, but I'm wondering, how did we get here? And I've been fortunate enough to see quite a bit of queer-related content in this 1995 adventure, so let's travel back in time and review a selection of these movies. Not all the ones I saw, this is not an all the ones I saw video, that is for another day, but the ones that bear relevance to this bizarre objectification conundrum.
He was told it wasn't safe.
Who's there?
Some women saw that little AIDS boy down at Peterson's yesterday.
He was warned to stay away.
My grandmother says you're going to hell.
Well, my doctor's really smart. He says he has no idea what happens. If your grandmother knows, she must be a genius.
She's a clerk at Kmart.
But Eric took a chance and risked everything.
Geez, you're a midget.
You just keep a safe distance.
What's a safe distance? 7 feet.
What he found was the best friend he ever had.
What's that awful smell? We accidentally stepped in your mother. Get him! Get out of the way!
I've never seen anyone who looked like this before, and my mom sure doesn't.
These aren't moms, these are women. Just as soon as they find the cure, we're heading out to Baskin-Robbins and ordering one of those monster sundaes.
It's a good plan.
What is it?
She's afraid that they might not find a cure in time.
Not measles, not chickenpox, AIDS.
Come Monday morning, you're going to summer camp.
Now, staying together
Tomorrow morning, I'm out of here.
I just think she'd be really, really worried.
means leaving everyone else behind.
You and I both know that the only thing that's going to make her happy is when we find a cure. I'll be the navigator and you can be treasurer.
History is full of very sick people who suddenly, for no reason at all, get better. And when that happens, we call it a miracle.
Sometimes I get really scared.
Hold on to this while you sleep. And if you wake up and you're scared, you'll say, wait a minute, Eric must be close by.
Universal Pictures presents Jurassic Park's Joseph Mazzello and the client's Brad Renfro in a story of two boys who made one summer last a lifetime. The Cure.
Okay, I know what you're thinking. You just spent all this time talking about gay stuff. This movie's not gay. To that, I say yes, you are correct. But it is part of a gay agenda. Put the gun down, listen, consider the time period. Consider it. The Cure is a film that deals with HIV/AIDS. If you don't understand how that is connected to the gay identity as it existed in popular media in the 90s, that would take a whole college semester to analyze in detail. But, in summary, it's a tale as old as time. It's Angels in America. It's we dumped our lovers' ashes on the White House lawn and you still did nothing. But it's 1995 now, and who knows how many deaths later, we're ready to talk about this AIDS thing in the theater. So yes, The Cure is not gay cinema, but its subject matter makes it gay-adjacent cinema. Alright? This movie is about two little boys. One has AIDS and got it through a blood transfusion. They're both bullied. Their mothers are mothers. And you know, boys will be boys and run away from home on a search in a boat on the river in a search for the cure to AIDS. This one's Americana at its Americana-ist. It's not nearly as cool as Gold Digger's The Secret of Bear Mountain, but it's got that same vibe and it has the same tropes going for it. But yeah, this movie is quite explicit about the struggles and stigma of being a person with AIDS, and, controversially, because this shouldn't have to be necessary, makes the issue more palatable. I don't even like using that word for this, but what are you going to do for mainstream audiences by placing it in the body of a little white boy with a worried white mother? That could be anybody's little white boy. That could be your little white boy, Tabitha spelled with a Y. Narratively, sexuality is completely detached from this film, but one look at the zeitgeist of the time, and it's difficult to deny the metatextual work this movie does, intentionally or not. But keep in mind the demographics involved in The Cure's narrative as I play this next little ad here.
Linda Hamilton stars in a compelling true story.
I have AIDS.
A Mother's Prayer from USA Pictures, Wednesday, August 2nd at 9.
Okay, so of course it's ripped from a headline, because these soon-to-be Lifetime TV dramas loved ripping from random headlines, and in this one, the widowed mother who lives in New York City finds out that she has AIDS and is gonna die. We are still solidly in Americana land here, but now we're in the white women worried section of the amusement park instead of the white wistful children section. So this single mother has AIDS, and it's like her entire personality now. And the film follows the gruelingly emotional process of arranging for the adoption of her own child in preparation for her inevitable death. Consider the demographics at play here. In both films, we are talking about AIDS and connecting it to some of the least marginalized and most generalized in the category of narratives of victimhood, women and children. Notice how I have still not been able to provide an example of a 1995 AIDS narrative that involves a straight American man. I mean, it's possible, I just didn't come across it yet, but considering the straight man's negligible relationship with victimhood as a concept in a great deal of at least 90s media, that might just seem like pushing the envelope too far or whatever. Now, before I say anything else,
I need your help. I need statistics. AIDS orphans, how many? What agencies deal with them now? What people can do. I'm going on the Jane Whitney show.
Go, girl.
Go, girl.
I got everything you need. Follow me. TJ's gonna love this.
Can I ask you something?
Absolutely.
You know everything about me. I don't know anything about you.
Well, my lover died of AIDS a year ago. I have the virus too. That's it. It's everything about me.
Looks like we've both been handed the same sentence. Sucks, doesn't it?
Honey, I am tired of being angry. And I'm tired of being tired. But every time I have left, I'm gonna leave with my heart. So watch out, because I'm moving.
Go, girl.
You go, girl.
Yeah, this movie has been caught red-handed. They really brought in 1995 Mama Ru, but before we get to that, let's talk about what's happening here. What we have here is a scene between two societally repressed and overlooked identities bonding over a shared real victimhood. And one of the side effects of AIDS being made into an our problem when it comes to media coverage is that it in turn humanizes the gay community further within the mainstream eye. The disease is even a major plot element of Kids, but frankly I don't know if it counts because that movie is an anomaly in many ways. Okay, so the operation of HIV/AIDS within the world of 1995's cinema has played no small role in granting the permission for specifically gay men to move from the label of a mysterious, dangerous, othered existence into a shared space of mainstream victimhood alongside women and children. What that means? I don't know. That feels like a different video. And of course, this isn't a definitive, clean, public transition in any way, but it's a thing. It's a thing. And the history of straight woman, gay man goes back even further. I mean, look at the Gay Deceivers from freaking 1969. Even then, there's examples of women being like, what? There are men that are capable of complimenting me without expecting anything in return? Balderdash, Godzooks. Shelve that thought for now. Repressed womanhood will come back with a fury later. It's time to talk about Queen Ru's role in all of this. It's time to talk about...
It's 1995. The world we know has changed.
Put on your Sunday best, kids. We're going to Sears.
But the Bradys never will.
Out of sight.
With Mike.
If your sister would wear her glasses, she just might improve her eyesight.
Carol.
Honey, I think you've stirred that enough.
I'm not stirring. I'm looking for Katie Carryall's underpants.
Greg.
All right, this is a car, Jack.
Of course this is a car. But my name's not Jack, it's Greg.
Bobby and Cindy.
So why don't you hop back on the Swiss Miss package where you belong, huh?
Okay.
Peter.
Lunch looks pretty rank. What'd you bring?
Pork chops and applesauce.
Jan.
Hi, everybody. It's the new Jan Brady.
Marcia.
Dinner's ready. Oh, my nose.
I'm sure no one will ever notice.
There will never be a teen model.
And Alice. The Brady Bunch movie.
Marcia did it again. Marcia.
When it comes to America things, it doesn't really get much more America than The Brady Bunch. And I'm telling you right now, the movie is not the show, which is part of why it's divisive, because the energy of the film is almost totally detached from the moralistic picket fence politics of the show. That said, I love this movie, and instead of getting into the whole thing, let me just show you who shows up in it. That's right, Mama Ru does it again. The premise of the movie is that the Brady Bunch is being introduced to a new America, and I'm thinking Ru made sure to show up here. Not only that, but in a role as a therapist for Jan Brady, which again directly speaks to the history of shared space between straight woman, gay man. I've seen it, you know it. A lot of the gay homies tend to be Jan's therapist. And this isn't the only time. Ru shows up in Blue in the Face, the Americana improv comedy spiritual follow-up to the extremely Americana Smoke. Because you can't have a movie about New York culture without someone from the ballroom showing up, and Ru took that opportune. And of course we can't forget about Tu Wong Fu. Doesn't matter if it's a TV budget, or an indie darling, or a multi-million, Ru kept showing up. One cannot understate the impact of Queen Ru specifically in further integrating the gay experience into the fabric of the American experience. And it is completely unsurprising that Ru is now a capitalist empress of a whole empire producing a hit reality show with a fandom that is once again operating within that shared space. But what happens one of the two coexisting identities within that shared space becomes the arousing imagined fantasy of the other. And no, I am not talking about drag. Drag has been around in the United States of America since at least the late 1700s. Take my word for it or not, that's a different video of a different media history, but get over yourselves. I'm talking about the emergence of fan fiction. I'm talking about the sailing of ships. And on its face, it's a beautiful, harmless form of creative expression, as well as, wish fulfillment? And this is the part where I take that idea of repressed womanhood off the shelf and refer you back to that Slanted Vision confessional of a straight woman about gay content. The fanfiction extension of that would be, I, a straight woman, create a world in which men have permission to be openly vulnerable and non-canonically close to each other. And there's nothing wrong with that at all on its face, but it gets complicated because there is no getting around the fact that it isn't necessarily a fiction. This is being done with an actual identity category held by actual people who do not exist exclusively to be your fantasy or, frankly, your therapist, Jan. If it's fictional characters, I mean, that's fine, go wild. But when the concept for the work originally starts off as a real person fic between Andrew Garfield and Jesse Eisenberg, which, and I heard this from someone who knows someone who was at Ground Zero, is the origin point that eventually evolved into the story that is red, white, and royal blue, I cannot help but question the politics of this shared space. Authorship is power. Authorship is narrative control. Fanfiction is an exertion of narrative power. I don't know, man. I just think we need to be careful with gay male romance as a commodity, because it bears the risk of becoming gay male romance as nothing more than a pleasure object, or as an outlet exclusively, finally, to get a chance to see a man vulnerable, because human beings in general, they're like more than that. I don't know what the consequences of this style of fan-fictionalized gay male fetishization are, but I know something different is going on here than what's going on in a Love Simon or a Bros or a Jeffrey in terms of the gay male experience as it relates to narrative power and narrative control. And I guess I fear the potential of entitlement as well as the potential for the evolution of stereotypes that are placed on gay men, just as not every woman is an anguished Oppenheimer woman, not every gay man is the gay man from your romance book. And the pursuit of romanticized gay romance as a pleasure object shouldn't be something done thoughtlessly within the shared space. Objectifying the vulnerabilities of your neighboring identities isn't something you should be entitled to, whether you choose to or not, especially because of how deeply you know how much it's not a walk in the park when the same kinds of objectifications are made out of the cloth of your identities. Share the space mindfully, and if you can't fathom what that looks like, or what I mean, I have another brilliant example from 1995 I can show you.
Life goes by so fast. What's the point?
What do you want me to do, huh? I don't have a job. I'm a loser. Shoot me.
Excuse me, can I get a falafel with hot sauce, a side order of baba ganoush, and a seltzer, please?
You want Lebanese delight?
Sure, bring it out.
Your mother was a woman with no common sense.
Would you hurry up?
Hello, Chanel. Of course, your father was a man without a conscience.
You think I couldn't be a library clerk?
Fine. You can start right now. I assume you're familiar with the Dewey Decimal System? I don't know the first thing about you. Your life, your friends. They're normal people, just like your friends.
Hey, hello!
Hello!
Natasha!
Leah, I'm gonna be 24 soon. I haven't done anything.
Yo, what happened here?
They're organized by the Dewey Decimal System.
Yo, there are over 1,000 albums here.
They were a mess.
What are you, my mother?
Don't mix those up.
Mary, they're jeans.
Vogue magazine calls Parker Posey wickedly funny. She's got a personality like a neon exclamation point.
You won't believe what I did last night. It was possibly the wildest night of my existence.
I'm happy to see you're practicing safe sex.
First Look Pictures proudly presents
Sometimes you can be kind of goofy.
Parker Posey.
She's good.
You've outdone yourself.
So silly.
The party is just beginning.
Party Girl.
Hello.
Parker Posey is the queen of fully embodying and celebrating shared space. Why? Because she knows there is enough space for every human in her presence to be the fullest human they can be. Her joy is not directly connected to or predicated on shrinking or packaging or capitalizing on the identities of those she shares space with. It's a party. She's a party girl. No parasocial attachments needed. So I urge you to be like Parker Posey in your interactions with your gay content neighbors, and I urge you not to be like parasocial relationship Parker Posey in Greg Araki's The Doom Generation. Enjoy what you enjoy, but remember to support your friends and think outside of yourself. Consider your identity in relation to the identities you interact with, even within the media you consume. You are entitled to nothing, and that is not a sign of gendered oppression as the opening confessional wishes to suggest. It is freedom. Freedom to free yourself and free others from cycles of suspicious capitalistic objectification. So yeah, that ends my spiel. I am really hoping I articulated myself well in this one, and my goodness, this summer is just flying by, ain't it? Anyways, it's Julia Chang time. Don't forget to subscribe. Next time is probably going to be one of the ones I promised, either physical media or subtitle situations. We'll see. We shall see. That was a good talk. An interesting look back. Very careful to navigate, but interesting nonetheless.